it's visible or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can see.
You can see, na?
I can see the desktop. Yes, I can see the presentation as well.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just let the people in. There are a few who are waiting.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
What's the time, Smita? At mine says 2:54. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Here also it's 2:54 only.
Okay. So we'll start it in around 6 minutes time. We'll wait
Yes,
for
ma'am.
others to join.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon, Lati ma'am. Last time we missed you.
I had a newly married couple coming to my house, so I had to entertain there.
No problem. Thank you, Smita, for reposting that link.
Somebody was asking, so I reposted the
Yes,
link actually.
yes.
Huh,
So,
huh.
yeah, thank you so much. Maybe because there were so many other messages that they missed
Yes,
out.
yes, they might have missed out.
Anyway, yeah, I think it's going to be 3 and we would like to start.
Okay.
So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 13th session by AI Teacher Community. Storytelling is a pedagogy for computer science and AI. We know that our lives have always revolved around stories, and nothing connects to us better than stories. Okay, so how do we bring this art into our education, into our classrooms? And especially, we have learned and we have seen that stories could be implemented in mathematics, in science, in English, in languages. But how do we imbibe that storytelling into our computer science and AI? It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome Smita R. Atreya. She is our resource person and very much a part of our family to deliver this session for us. I have already attended this session of Smita as she is also an All India Educator Forum's resource person. She is an AI master trainer and she is faculty at DPS Rourkela. And when I first attended, I know there are a couple of others also who have already attended Smita's session, but we again want to attend that because that was one of the brilliant session I had attended as far as computer science and AI was concerned. She had put in a lot of effort in preparing this particular module, and as her true nature of a leader, she always shared what she knew and to the best of her ability. And then when I was attending that session that day, I thought, okay, so I attended and some of our friends also attended, but why not bring the same session to this platform so that all those who missed out that day could attend this. So that is why we have Smita today again with us, who would take us through the storytelling as a pedagogy for computer science and artificial intelligence. Welcome, Smita, and we look forward to the session. And I would also like to inform everybody that for a long time, I always dreamt of doing something of my own. And I had a very small venture called Summer Pebbles, which was basically started for children and the summer workshops. But then I wanted to do a little bit more. And recently I have rebranded Summer Pebbles to an initiative called Enable by Shibi Anand. And AI teacher community will also fall into that. So just wanted to share this small realization of my dream with all of you because you're also part of my life's journey as well. So do encourage, be a part of that. And yes, I don't want to waste much more time here. Over to you, Smita, for this particular session.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shibi ma'am, for giving me the opportunity to be part of AI teacher community and giving a platform again for me to showcase whatever research I had done. And I hope that all the teachers who have joined also will like whatever I have done. And as you said, sharing is very important for a resource person, especially for a teacher. So that is what I want. Let us share, let us learn from each other, and let us empower each other. That is what even I also stand for. Now, good afternoon, all of you. This particular module that I developed has a story behind it. So let me start with the story again. When I enrolled myself for that CBSE course, Storytelling as a Pedagogy, which was launched by CBSE, I was thrilled and amazed by the way Deepta Vivekanand introduced the concept, and I was amazed by the way the storytelling was done and how it could be incorporated to the subjects. And immediately my mind started working, and she was telling only about science, English and mathematics, as you told, Shibi ma'am. So I was brainstorming and I thought, why don't I do it something for our subject, especially CS and AI? That's how the journey started. Then when I started doing some research, then before that I had done something. So I joined all the dots and I was able to bring a clear picture. and I'm going to present it with you. This is the story behind this module that I have developed. So good afternoon once again. Now let us see what are the objectives of the session. We are going to understand what is the importance of storytelling as a pedagogy and how to integrate this pedagogy to our subject, that is CS and AI. And I'll show you some examples of some stories which I have written myself and I have taken from other sources also, which are related to CS and AI, and how to create our own stories or use the stories which are there already, and also use this pedagogy as an assessment tool. So before I proceed further, if anybody has got anything to add or if you want to ask any doubt, you can unmute yourself, you can ask me, there is no problem. So that much interaction should be there, that is what I feel. So these are the objectives of the session that I am going to take you through. Now let us first understand the definition of what is story and what is storytelling. Story is the concept and storytelling is the means of communication where we present our thoughts or process or the communication part that happens between the speaker and the receiver. Now, this is also a form of art, and storytelling in the field of education or in the field of learning is not at all new. From time immemorial, where the Gurukul system was there, or even during the old our scriptures, we have seen that the knowledge was passed from one person to the other person in the form of stories only. And they used to get a pictorial representation and they used to imagine things and they used to work. That is how the knowledge was shared. Even when we read books about Panchatantra or your Jataka tales, the value education was done or given to the pupils in the form of storytelling only. So storytelling is also a form of art, just like we have dance, painting, and other things which are there. And when we introduce storytelling in our schools, then the teacher becomes the person that is speaker and our students, they become the audience. And when we use it as a pedagogy, it gives a better sense of understanding to the audience. And in this case, since we are teachers, our pupils, our wards, or our students are going to be understanding the concept in a much, much better way. When it is used as a pedagogy in our class, we can be 100% sure that the students will feel, sense, and think about the topic. And also, research has proved that the creative part of the brain is also enhanced. That is the history behind the storytelling concept over here. Now, why storytelling as a pedagogy has become the focus of many educators at the present day scenario. Now, before I tell these points, let us go back again, maybe 1,000 years or 2,000 years. That time, storytelling was the main thing, and knowledge acquisition was the utmost, was given the utmost importance. There was no rote learning. But over a period of time, the people or the schools or the colleges, they started shifting their focus from knowledge based to grade based or marks based. Everybody started focusing on how to get good marks, not how to get good knowledge or how to become knowledgeable, how to keep that knowledge for a longer period of time and give it to others. That the focus got shifted from the knowledge based learning to rote learning. And everybody started concentrating on how to get 100 out of 100, how to become a rank holder, how to crack the entrance exam. So that was the focus. But so because of this one, we started imparting education to our students in the rote learning fashion. But NEP 2020, when it was introduced last year by our union cabinet, there they shifted the focus again from rote learning to competency based education, experiential learning, gaining the 21st century skills, which all of you know have become the focus again. So since we have again shifted from rote learning to the new type of learning, storytelling has got a very good chance or very good place to come as a pedagogy in our classrooms. And also, since we are saying that for the past 1.5 years, we are taking online classes. The children are bored with the same kind of thing. We are showing some PPTs, we are showing some videos, and we are giving some activities and we are doing. Now, how to make or how to take this beyond? At that point of time, storytelling comes as a handy tool. And it also gives a better way of assessing whatever knowledge we have imparted to our children. And it can be integrated across various subjects and across all the grades from class 1 to class 12. And most importantly, the thing is that we have to engage our our learners. We have to make them happy to come to our classes. That is our main focus. So that is why educators are focusing that storytelling can become an important pedagogy in our classrooms. That is the background of this one. Now, how to integrate this pedagogy in CS and AI? Now, I'm specifying CS and AI because we have CS and AI teachers only here. It is same thing for other subjects also. First thing is that we have to choose the topic, what we want to teach, whether it is AI or CS. Suppose, let me take the example of AI. Suppose if I want to teach the concept of AI ethics. Okay, now the topic is chosen. Once the topic is chosen, next what we have to do, we have to decide whether we want it as a starter activity, whether we want it as an introduction one, or whether we want to introduce this pedagogy for a subtopic, or whether we want it at the end, at the summary of the lesson or not. That is what we have to keep in our mind. Once the topic is chosen, second thing is we have to choose which type of story we want. Which type in the sense, we have many types of stories. We have animal stories like fables are there, fictions are there, then fairy tales are there, real life stories are there, autobiographies, biographies, so many types of stories are there. We have to choose which type we want. Then the third thing is that we have to choose the resource, whether the book or the story is available in our house library or not, whether it is there in our school library. Nowadays we are in the digital world, so some stories might be in the digital platform also, digital resources might be there. So we have to figure out all these things, and then you get the final thing that you know how to integrate this pedagogy in other subjects. So once this is done, now we have to come to the lesson plan part of this story-based pedagogy. So what you have to do is, as we know that whenever we write a lesson plan, we set the learning objectives. So when we write the learning objective, at that point only, we have to decide whether this story is related to only our subjects or whether it can be integrated with other subjects also. If that is so, sit with all the other subject teachers and write the learning objectives for each and every subject, and the same lesson plan can be used by three or four, maybe science, mathematics, and AI, or maybe AI and SST. So like that, you have to integrate. Once that is done, keep all the worksheets or the activities or the assessment sheets ready beforehand. So this activities or the worksheets may not be kept in the beginning only. It can be during the process of storytelling, or it can be at the end, or it can be at the starting. So keep that everything in your mind. After that, once the storytelling is over, try to develop a discussion in line with the topic that you are teaching and the story that you have told. Always try to bring the joining point. So they say connect the dots. We normally use the term connect the dots. So when the dots are connected, the children will be able to correlate and they will be able to create a mind map of the story as well as the topic that you are going to teach. So that is how the lesson planning has to be done. Now, once these things are done, now you are ready to go. But there is a word of caution over here. Don't try to forcefully fit stories in your lessons. See here, see teachers, that most of the stories cannot come to our subjects. We should know where to introduce, because too much of something is not good again. So we have to fit only those stories which are appropriate to our concept, to our subject, or to the subtopic that we are teaching. And all the concepts in CS and AI cannot be taught or assessed in this method. So we may introduce other pedagogies also, like competency-based or your other problem-based or project-based pedagogies, other pedagogies we can use, but for a subtopic or for a main topic, we can do it. So always a word of caution is there that you do not forcefully fit stories in your lessons. And when you're telling the story, that time, even though we are CS and AI teachers, we have to become language teachers that time. We have to modulate our voice. We have to have good voice modulation, good annotation, gestures, and say you can use some props to make the stories very interesting for the children, and they are really going to enjoy. And this can be used across all grades, maybe from class 1 to class 12. So that is the word of caution. Now, whenever you create a story, the lessons are ready and the stories are ready, create a story bank. Okay, so this story bank is nothing but a place where all the stories are kept and curated, and then at whichever point of time you can use it. So some of the examples of some stories, I have created a story bank And this story bank I have created in a HTML file. I've just put the links over there, and whenever I click that, I can go to that particular site. I'll show you that also. Now, from this point of time, now all of you will become my, it is going to be an activity now. I'm going to tell a story to all of you. You're all my students. Please sit back and enjoy the story. And then once the story is over, we'll do some activity, because you're going to feel when you're using it in the class, how exactly it is going to work, that we are going to see now. Okay. So I'm just clicking on this link. This is the story bank that I have created. There are 6 stories. Out of these 6 stories, 3 stories I have written and 2 stories I have taken from the one more site, which I'm going to show you also. The first story that I'm going to tell now, Shibi ma'am, can I tell 2 stories today? That day I did not have much time.
Yes, yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I'll tell 2 stories to you. The first one, I'm going to show it to you. Now you're all my students. Okay, let us imagine that this is our classroom and we are going to do this session. I'm not going to tell anything about the story. What is it about? It is just a surprise for all of you. Okay, it is going to come. What is the name of the story? Can anybody tell me?
My sweet Toto.
Yeah, My Sweet Toto is the name of the story. And as you can see, it is me that I have written the author's name. And these are the illustrators from whom I have taken the pictures. So let us start. Now I'm going to recite the story for you. And as I told you, when the storytelling is going on, you assume yourself to be a language teacher. How English teacher says or she reads the lesson in the class, in the same way, we are also going to do that. Let me start now. In a town called Pandavapura, there was a little girl by the name Sumitra. She was a very lively and bubbly child. She used to get up early in the morning every day and go for a walk in the fields and riverside. She loved seeing the birds, rising sun, farmers going to the field, and women near the river. She loved birds and tried to speak to them. One day, Sumitra went to the town market with her father. She saw lots of people in the market selling fruits, vegetables, and other things. But her eyes went to a corner where she saw a person selling parrot. She was thrilled. She wanted to immediately take it home. She convinced her father and brought it home. And she called him Totu. Totu enjoyed Sumitra's company and played with her. Soon, it became the pet of everyone in the house. Also, all her neighbors loved Totu. Every day, she used to wake up at 5 in the morning, take her parrot with her to see the beautiful morning scene in her town. She used to speak to Totu about everything she saw and felt. Every day, she used to teach Totu, Sumitra, wake up. Sumitra, wake up. So one day, to her surprise, before her mother came to wake her up, Totu started shouting, Sumitra, wake up. Sumitra, wake up, till she opened her eyes. Sumitra, hearing Totu's voice, was thrilled and jumped from her bed in great happiness. She ran across her house with full joy and exclaimed, Totu is my voice assistant. It understands what I speak and replies to me. Everyone in her family were thrilled and surprised. All her neighbors across came to her house to see how Totu could be her voice assistant. She showed them how Totu could respond to her and give reply appropriately. When she said, Totu, is father at home? It would say, yes, yes. When Totu asked, is grandma sleeping? It would reply, no, no. Wake me, Totu. It said, Sumitra, wake up. So in this way, Totu was Sumitra's voice assistant. It understood whatever she told and replied back correctly. It learned many new words from her over a period of time. So, in the same way, a voice assistant is equipped with speech recognition and natural language processing technologies of artificial intelligence to understand what we speak, reply back with an answer, learn new things over a period of time. It converts our speech to digital data, uses NLP algorithms to process the speech, search for an appropriate answer from its memory, and gives back the reply. That's the power of NLP in AI. And that is the end of the story. Now, coming back to this one session. So I would like to ask, what did you understand by the story? Anybody? Any teacher?
How beautifully you connected a parrot to a voice assistant.
Yes.
How
That's
beautifully those narrations were done. That's what
Yes.
my take. Teachers,
Yes.
may feel free to unmute and say if you would like to say something.
Yeah, it
Technology
is a
has
real
changed
time
in a
connect that we should.
Yes, ma'am. You're not audible.
Yeah, I was saying that it is a real time, real life connect that you have shown.
Yes.
And whenever we bring in the real time connect in our classes, our classrooms become alive
Yes.
because they would
So
be relating to something.
yes. Now, can anybody tell me why I did not choose any other bird? Why did I choose a parrot only? I could have
Because
chosen crow or myna or anything, isn't it?
it's a live example.
Yes, yes. Because we know that parrots can speak, isn't it? Children can connect to that. So that is why I have correlated this particular story to the voice assistant and how by training through the NLP algorithms, we can get and we can correlate that to Apple's Siri or Amazon's Alexa or Google Home, anything like that. Now, I would like to read one more story. This is related to something different. So let us understand the story. Then again, we'll do the activity now. So this is, as the name is suggesting, so let me maximize it for you. You can read the heading when it comes. Okay, can anybody tell me what's the name of the story?
Bonda and Devi.
Bonda and Devi. And I'm not the author of this story. It is by Rupa Rai, Pai, and illustrator is Jeet Chaudhary. So let us again go through this story and come back to the brainstorming session here. Let me start. Again, stack them up again, Bonda. I want to try knocking them down from a different angle. Without hesitating for a moment, without even frowning, Bonda puts one battered box on top of the other for the 50th time. The high, shaky cardboard tower is perfectly balanced, the only way Bonda knows how to build it. I rev up my super speedy turbo engine, vroom, vroom, and gun for it, coming in from the right this time. Bam! I crash through, shrieking with delight as the tower explodes around me. Bonda laughs, clapping as loudly as he did for the first time. I did this. Dear Bonda, the best, most loyal friend anyone could have, especially a 10-year-old in a wheelchair. Hi, I'm Devi and I'm from the year 2085 AD. My grandfather is always going on about how much the world has changed since he was my age back in 2016. It's more crowded now, but the air thankfully is less polluted because a great many vehicles run on electricity or solar power. There are fewer accidents too because vehicles drive themselves and they're very careful. There are fewer trees and forests than there used to be, but more are being planted all the time, which is good. But what has really changed, my grandfather, is technology. There was technology way back in 2016 too, but nothing like what we have now. It has truly made life wonderful. Well, my life anyway, it was technology that gave me my best friend. Meet Bonda, best friend forever, cardboard tower builder and robot. I see your eyes pop. Huh? You didn't guess that, had you? But think about it. Which other friend would cheerfully build you a tower 50 times over without complaining? And which other friend would build it so perfectly every single time? Bonda. I agree. Humans are simply not as accurate or as consistent as we are. And they complain that doing the same thing over and over is boring. I have no idea what that word means. So don't ask me. And they fall ill and they need to go to the toilet a lot. I wonder how they got anything done before we arrived. Building towers is not at all Bonda or not all Bonda can do, though. I can train him to do many other things. Bowl me 2 dozen fast balls in 10 minutes so that I can practice my batting. Bring down my secret treasure box from the topmost shelf, which is so high that no one else can reach it without a ladder. Lift Baba's heavy desk so I can see where my tiny gold earring has rolled off. Ma would yell at me for hours if I lost it. Things like that. Just a minute, ma'am. Our eyes can be cameras, telescopes, microscopes, or all other three rolled into one. How do I train Bonda? By programming him. Programming means showing him just once how something's done. For instance, the other day, I wanted him to bring me my secret box, the one I talked about earlier. Here's how I did it. First, I directed Bonda to the shelf it was sitting on, drawing on the route on the plan of my house he displays on his touch screen. Can you reach up and scan the top shelf now, B? I said when he got there. His arm shot up and up, shot out and up. As he ran his hand along the length of the shelf, the tiny camera inside his finger clicked away, taking pictures of everything there. When he showed me those pictures, I simply touched the picture of the box I wanted. That's my secret treasure box, Bonda, I said. Can you bring it down for me? Now, whenever I need the box, I only have to say secret treasure box and off he goes straight to the shelf. Once he has learned something, Bonda never forgets. His memory is fantastic. Bonda, fantastic? Only to incompetent humans who can never remember where they left their keys, their glasses, their phones. Yeah, that's my best friend, life. And yeah, I'm a very lucky girl indeed. Oh, don't get me wrong, I'm not weird. I do have human friends who I play with and fight with and go to school with. But I love Bonda more than all of them because he doesn't sulk when I have fun with someone else or get jealous when I beat him at maths or mad when I forget to wish him on his birthday. And this is because Bonda has no feelings. But don't say that aloud. It might make him feel bad. Bonda, tus, tus, Devi, where's the logical thinking, girl? You say, I don't have feelings, and then you worry that I will feel bad. Humans can be logical, but when they feel sad or mad or scared, logic disappears. Pah, who needs feelings? Wait, was that a feeling I felt just now? My processor tells me it was. It tells me I'm feeling something called disgust. I don't know how to feel about that. Oh, and here's the best part. I never have to feel bad that he is having fun with another friend instead of me because he doesn't have any. Bonda, hey, that's not true. I do have other friends. The robot waitress at the cafe always says hello nicely, and so does the robot checkout boy at the grocery store. Wait a minute, I just processed what Devi has been saying. She only likes me because I have no other friends and no feelings, not because of who I am. Oh no, I feel a rush of feels. I'm feeling mad and sad. And Bonda, are you okay? You're overheating, Bonda. You have a fever and your auto shutdown is not working. But don't worry, my friend. I will take care of you like you have always taken care of me. Listen carefully now, Bonda. I am going to shut you down so that your system can recover. Okay? Don't be scared. It will be like going to sleep. That's all. And when I start you up again, you'll be back good as new and we'll be best friends again. Do you hear me, Bonda? Devi's eyes are all wet like they are when she's sad or scared. That makes me feel sad too. But my processor tells me that her wet eyes mean that she really cares about me. Now I feel a happy feel. So confused, sad and happy, happy and sad, and shutting down. There is a whir and a hum as Bonda reboots. I fight back my tears. Bonda, I say, Bonda, can you hear me? Do you know who I am? Please tell me your memory isn't wiped out. I want you to remember all the fun we have had this past year, all the love. Bonda, love. Was that the feel I was feeling? That the happy and sad feel? Bonda looks at me. Hi, Devi. What would you like me to do for you today? Shall we play stack in the boxes? Shall I bring you your secret treasure box? Do you want to, Bonda? You're all right. Oh, I'm glad. I throw my arms around Bonda and hug him tight. Bonda, and then I do something really odd, something no one has ever programmed me to do. I wrap my arms around my friend Devi for no logical reason at all. Robots yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Will there be a Bonda for every day, for every Devi by the year 2025? We'll have to wait and see. But there is no denying that robots will be far more visible even in 25 years from now by the year 2040. Who or what is a robot? If you said a robot is a machine that looks and acts like a human, except it moves jerkily, has a flat, expressionless face, and eyes that flash when it is turned on, you have obviously been watching too many movies and TV shows. Because actually, a robot is any electromechanical machine guided by a computer program or electronic circuits. Yeah, it doesn't have to look like a human at all, which is why you may not have realized that there are robots all around us already. Really? Where? Well, there are in factories, warehouses, or orchards, hospitals, and even homes. They may look like large mechanical arms like the ones in car manufacturing plants, welding, gluing, painting car parts. Or they may look like tiny cameras like the ones in hospitals attached to thin hair-like tubes, entering our intestines and arteries to check them out for problems. Some robots look like flat, round discs working in homes and offices, buzzing around and cleaning floors at night, and even when everyone is asleep. Some look like small wheeled vehicles going to war zones, finding dangerous landmines, or rolling across the surfaces of the moons on Mars, taking pictures and collecting samples to send them to scientists back on Earth. I wish I could see a robot for myself. If you have ever used or even seen a computer or a smartphone, you have seen a robot. Yes, they are in those devices as well. Some of them even have names like Siri and Cortana. Have you heard of them? They can help us find useful information, stuff for school projects, traffic reports, which roads have heavy traffic today, which is a good alternative route to take. Entertainment, where is the new Deepika Padukone movie running and when is the next show, and much more. They can even book our bus or train tickets, order our groceries, and tell us exactly how many calories we have burnt after a game of football. What does the future of robots look like? What will the world really be like, say 2040, as far as robots are concerned? We may not have robots walking our streets in India by 2040, but we will definitely be surrounded by robots of one kind or another without knowing it. It is quite likely that there will be driverless robot cars on our streets. We may have microscopic robots in our contact lenses that help us take pictures. We won't even have to hold our phones or cameras up to take them. But how we will take selfies? And little airborne robots called drones will be flying buzzily all around, delivering letters, packages, kebabs, putting delivery boys out of business, and hopefully reducing some traffic in our streets. As for 2085, 45 years after that, who knows what robots will be up to? So this is a long story which was about so many concepts being taught over here. Now, let me again come back to the class. I will share it later. Let us start discussing now. This was a long story which discussed about so many concepts. Can you tell me?
About robots?
Yes.
Very obvious. Yes,
Yeah.
Santosh, you are saying something.
Yeah. It was talking about robots, and if we go deeper and deeper, we got information about machine learning. It was the girl was teaching the robot how to identify the secret box, and it learned so quickly. So
And
it was
programming also.
Yeah, programming.
Ma'am, it is also showing that if we train the machine properly, it will give us the things back properly, right, in a right manner.
Yes, yes. And one more thing, where the feeling concept came, it introduced the concept of super intelligence also. We say that we are presently in the artificial narrow intelligence. So there may be a situation where we go towards artificial general intelligence, where the robots will start having certain kind of feelings. They are going to be exactly like us, and they are going to learn by the training that we are going to give. Okay. So I hope this story also was very interesting to all of you.
Can I just share one thing? I
Yes.
think last year there was in China, I think so. A
Uh-huh.
man married a robot. I know how
Okay.
many of you here.
Okay, ma'am.
Robots can show emotions also, it seems.
Yes. Robots can show emotions also. So this was a story that was written by somebody else. 3 more stories are there. I will not narrate now because we don't have much time. I'll just show you the content and I'll ask you to guess what it might be about. Just 1 minute. So this is a story. I'll just click and show it to you. This I have only written. This I have not written. Sorry. This is How to Catch the Wind. This is a story which is about SDG. Okay, so SDG goals, everybody knows that it's a very important concept, how we protect our environment now. So this is a story related to that. And there is another story, this one. This is a story which is called as Ramu's Dream. Okay, this I have written. This is my own creation. And this is about the smart city, how a boy's dream in the year 1985 became a reality in the year 2000. This is a story about smart city. And this is one more story I have written. The name is not very direct. Okay, so always when you write any story or pick up any story, let the story names be not direct. If it is direct, children will guess what you are going to teach. There should be some kind of mystery or adventure. As the story unfolds, the children will be able to know it. So this is a story, as you sow, so shall you reap. I have given this proverb, but actually it is based on AI ethics. So in AI ethics, we have learned that we have a lot of biased data. So bias and prejudices are there in our lives. So because of some kind of bias, we are going to give the same kind of bias to our models also when we train them. And that is how the bias is going to come in the AI systems also. So as you sow, so shall you reap. We are teaching them the concept of garbage in, garbage out in terms of AI ethics over here. And this another story, this is about World Wide Web. This also I have taken it from the another source inside the World Wide Web, where the children will get entire picture about the process of how World Wide Web works and how it can be, how the technology is working. Now, after going through this story bank, everybody are wondering that where did these stories come from, isn't it? I hope everybody is thinking the same way. Are you all thinking, yes, from where these stories have come?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So these stories have come from a place called a Story Weaver. I have also created and written the stories in this particular website called as storyweaver.org.in, where some stories are already written by other authors. You can directly use them or you can create on your own. Let us quickly go through this particular Story Weaver. The detailed video, I'm going to send it to you later. I have created a video of how to create your own stories or how to use the stories which are already there. But just one overview, I'm going to show it to you now by taking you to that particular site, storyweaver.org.in. This is a particular website by Pratham Books. I think a few teachers might be knowing about it. It is just going to get loaded. Just 2 minutes. Okay, here it is taking some time in this particular browser. Let me open it in another browser and show it to you. Just give me 1 second. You can just go to Google and type Story Weaver, and you can log in directly through your Gmail account. Okay. So this is how the site looks like. I have already logged in, so my information is coming. This is the first screen you get, where you have options like read, translate, create, and resource. Okay. So under read section, you can see that which are the themes that are available. And the most important advantage of this particular website is that it has got stories in all the Indian languages. Okay. So now why languages are important? We know that in the present NEP, they say that you can go for bilingual or multilingual teaching in your classrooms. Reach the children in whichever they are going to understand. It's not that since we are teaching in English medium schools, we are going to narrate the story in English only. Make sure that you write in other languages also, whichever language your children are going to get comfortable, and all major Indian languages, the stories are there. Say for example, since we are concentrating on CS and AI, I'm not going to go to family and friends and fiction and animal stories, search for a topic. I'm going to go for, say, topic computer science, okay? So if you type over here, it'll show you innumerable number of stories which are related to your subject. See here, you can see Kannada, Gujarati, Marathi, English, Hindi, so many, all the Indian, Tamil, even Malayalam stories are also there. So you can go. Now, suppose you want to search for a story. So based on the topic that you are searching, you can directly go over here. Computer science, it is listing this much. If I search only for computer, then you can see that few more stories will be listed. See, now it has come. See, World Wide Web, which I had taken. There is one story called as Sharanya Speaks to Robots. So this is a story about robots. Other authors have written The Mystery of the Cyber Friend, where we teach the concept of cyber security to our students. And there is Lost in the Internet. So many stories are there. You can just open it from this side and start sharing your screen, and you can narrate these stories, or you can tell your children to read the stories and then start your class or start any activity or any revision work that you have done or you want to do. All these things can be done. Relating to artificial intelligence also, since I have written few stories have come in this particular website, I'm going to show it you that also. See, if I type artificial intelligence, I'm going to get these stories. See, Bonda and Devi, this is what I had taken. Ramu's Dream, this my story is there. As You Sow, So Shall You Reap, this My Sweet Totu. These three stories I have written. They have already accepted it and they have published my books. And you can also publish your own books under this particular website. And you can create also, if you want to create your own books, you can go to this create option. You can create stories or images. Detailed explanation of how to use this particular website. I have created a video. I will send a link later on when you have free time. You can go about it and you can read. And wonderful stories are there, and which can be correlated to other subjects also. That example I will show you to now. If I go to the first screen, let me just take out this this one, SDG. I'll show you that one. SDG stories, wonderful SDG stories are there based on all the goals. We know that there are 17 SDG goals. All the stories related to our SDG are going to come here. Okay. SDG goals. See, so many stories are there. Haryanvi language is also there. So many. See here, Norwegian. So you can go over here and you can search for the topic. And you can go for, and one more advantage of this particular website is that you can use it as an offline library also. Internet is not always required for you to see it and then show it to your students, and they can also read whenever they want. Once you log in for the first time, that time only SDG stories come. That also I can show it to you. Let me go to Story Weaver once again. In the initial screen only at the bottom, you have that SDG stories. You can search for them. As you scroll down, see here, SDG lists are there. So if you click here, SDG list, then see here, the pledge for the planet, SDG 13, good health, SDG 3 is good health and well-being. So if you click on here, many stories are there. You can view the list one by one and you can read out in the class. It can be done as an introductory activity or at the in between or at the end also. See, novel coronavirus, we can stay safe. Who stole Bhaiya's smile? So everything is related, and they've given introduction also about this SDG goal. They have given introduction also. So this is how we can effectively use Story Weaver as a platform in order to read out the stories which has been created by others, or we can create our own stories and we can read out to our children also. If you familiarize this website to your students, they can also write stories and publish it, and they can take it up in their class session for presenting their stories that they have written. So this is about the story bank that I have created, and the source, we understood that all these stories have come from Story Weaver. Now, some
Excuse
other
me, ma'am.
examples. Yes,
Excuse me,
please tell
ma'am.
me. Tell
Ma'am,
me.
can we recreate the story?
Yes,
But
ma'am, you can do it. Translation also can be done. Yes. Yes, yes, you can modify it. Modify in the sense you can translate. Okay. Translate. And if they feel that any plagiarism has happened, or if you have taken some objectionable thing, they are going to drop your story and you are going to get a message in your email. So that itself is an indication that there was some problem in your story and you have to modify it.
All right.
Yes. Okay. So other places where you can get inspiration and you can narrate the stories or show some videos to your children is story of Jetsons. I think when we were not when we were young, but maybe our children were young, the story of Jetsons used to come in the TV. And you will not believe this story series was created in United States of America in the year 1960s or 65, I think. So there they introduced the concept of futuristic home. There the concept of home office was there, which is a reality now. Online classes, telemedicine, video call, everything was there. So after this session, you just Google or you can go to YouTube and see that they have videos of Jetsons, and where they're talking about, it's a story of a family, husband, wife, and 2 children, but how they the family lives in the futuristic way that they have shown. And you will be amazed to see that whatever was shown in the year 1960s or 70s has become a reality. And when we were young, I think all of you remember, we used to watch the Star Trek TV series. Do you all remember?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So
yes.
that TV series was so futuristic that many of the present day inventions, like your flip mobile phones, your virtual assistants or your voice assistants, everything has come from this Star Trek. So again, today you can go to YouTube and watch one episode of Star Trek, and you can see that many things are a reality now. And this is the image of some of the things, digital pads with a stylus, and this Google glasses we have now. It's the virtual reality glasses, this flip mobile phones or walkie-talkies or your drone cameras. All these gadgets were introduced as a fantasy of that particular creator of Star Trek, but he did not know that it has become a reality. So what is the meaning of telling all these things to you is that you can show these video clippings to your children and then relate that to the concept that we are teaching them in the class, and also motivate them to dream about something which can become a reality at maybe 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line. That is the greatness of these stories. And one more software is there, which is called as Microsoft Photo Story. You can use this application also in order to create your own stories by giving your own voice. So you how to use this Microsoft Photo Story. Also, I have prepared a video. I'm going to kindly mute yourself. Okay, let me mute everybody. Okay. So now you can use this particular application by Microsoft, very easy to use application to create your own stories, your own drawings, giving your own voiceover. 2 students or 3 children can take up characters and they can make their own stories, or you yourself can do and you can present it in the class. How to use this photo story? I will send the video again to all of you. Now, few other places where I found some interesting stories are, one is this one. Let me take you to this link. When I was doing the research for this one, I found this particular site very interesting. It is about big stories of 2020, and it is about AI to create portraits of famous historical figures, how it came. Autonomous robots used to disinfect hospital rooms with concentrated UV light. So why I'm showing all these things? Because before we just tell that robot is such a thing, it is used for this one, show them real things, show them real places, show them reality, connect them to these particular concepts, and then teach them. It becomes very interesting in the class that children will know. And recently in Japan also, they had this virtual graduation ceremony where the images of all the children were kept on these robots, and they came and they took their graduation certificates. These are real stories. We have Singapore deploys dog robots to remind people of safe distancing measures. So if the children know about these stories, they get inspired and they will be able to understand the concept, and they will be able to create something innovatively when they grow up also. And one more, this video is there wherein it tells you about the self-driving cars concept. GM Motors long back, again maybe in the year 50s or 60s, they had made this futuristic car which was self-driving, and it was a serial or something like that, a web series. Introduction to this video. Let me just put it for 1 minute and I'll show it to you. What is it about?
Hello everyone, welcome to this video in which we roll through the many major milestones in the rapidly evolving story of self-driving cars.
Famous escape artist.
Just a minute.
Major milestones in the story of self-driving cars. A driverless future seems just around the corner, but it's been a long, arduous journey to arrive at this point.
The dream of self-driving cars is almost as old as the automobile. As early as 1925, Francis Houdina demonstrated a remote control car called the American Wonder, which drove through the streets of Manhattan, frightening passerbys with an empty driver's seat. Houdina, a local mechanic, is not to be confused with Harry Houdini, the famous escape artist, who was rather...
Okay, this is an example of that.
...are now becoming available in the market.
And this dream's inspiration comes straight from the reality of driving in busy traffic. There is no doubt that one of the most dangerous things we do on a regular basis is driving our car. In fact, more than 94% of all driving accidents today are caused by some kind of human error. What if we could minimize or completely eliminate driving deaths by taking human error out of the picture through automation?
There are also many other profound benefits that could arise from a driverless future. Instead of focusing on lanes, turns, and traffic, you could reply to work
this vision of you robotic van that could
Okay,
drive
that.
9
See, they're talking about this
kilometers,
only.
modified
I'm just going to
autonomous
stop it now. I'll
autonomy.
send you the link for this also. You can see that. And you'll understand that how the series, a fictional series which was created by GM Motors, it became a reality in the future. I mean, it has become a reality now. Future to hai, but it has become a reality now. So now we can take up real life stories also, like how people developed Facebook or Snapchat, how Mark Zuckerberg started the concept of Facebook. Initially, it was called as FaceMash. So if we try to tell the real stories of people who are involved in the CS and AI field, children will obviously get inspired and they will be excited to learn the concept that they can also do something for the betterment of themselves or for the society also. Even Amazon's Alexa story is related to the Star Trek only. Robot, the story of World Wide Web, self-driving cars or Snapchat, all the AI applications that we are seeing today, everything has a story behind it. So tell that story and make it as exciting as possible for your students. Now, the chapters where storytelling pedagogy can be incorporated. This is my way of understanding that where I can incorporate the storytelling pedagogy. As I'm telling, don't try to forcefully fit your stories in your chapters. Just think about it, whether it can come or not, and then try to introduce it. I feel that in class 11, there is an introduction to computer systems first chapter in CS. Okay. So since the children have already studied what is computer, input device, output device, instead of teaching them like that, we can make a stories for form where all these devices are interacting with each other and talking about themselves. And that is how within maybe 1 or 2 classes, we can easily cover entire concepts of this one. Then the second concept is number systems. If you go to Storyweaver, there's a story about binary number systems, how computers take 0 and 1 and work. So that we can take it forward to other number systems again, which is there in class 11. We have hexadecimal number system, we have octal number system, or we have ASCII code, something like that. There we can introduce for a bit of that particular concept, we can introduce stories. And then history of programming languages. Since we are teaching the students about Python, let the children know about what is the story behind it. How did the person who created Python language got inspired by the language? Why did he do that? Why the name Python came? Why there is a logo of 2 serpents oppositely faced? There is a story for everything. There is a story. Tell the story. It is very, very interesting. And that is what, see, normally we give introduction in the class, but if it is told in a story form, it carries a lot of meaning. Then SDGs have already told you. We can introduce AI project cycle also, which is there in class 9 and 10 for as a storytelling concept. Cyber ethics is one place where I found it to be very, very interesting concept. So many concepts are there in cyber ethics, like netiquettes is there. We have intellectual property rights. We have cyber stalking, cyber bullying. Then your identity theft. Each concept can come in the form of a story. That makes real sense. Or you can take up real life examples where citizens have been fooled, they have been stalked, or they have been bullied. You can create their stories and you can present it. If you directly take up a session about cyber security, you say don't do this, don't do that. No, nobody will like that. But if you tell a real life story that touches the heart and mind and soul, and children will be able to really know, okay, these things we should not do and these things we should be careful about. I found that between stacks and queues also we can introduce by each of their characters telling about their advantages and disadvantages, how they work, and database management system, not regarding the syntax or the programming part or the SQL part, but for the database concepts. We have concepts of database like data redundancy is there, or data privacy is there. All those concepts can be taken up bit by bit. The stories need not have to be long, maybe 1 or 2 page stories also we can write. Networking also provides a very good platform for stories, especially when we teach them in class 12 about the topologies, types of networking devices. Normally children get confused between router, bridge, gateway, and your node, hub, switch. So those questions are very, very tricky. Where we have to put a switch, where we have to put up a node. What is the difference between gateway and your bridge? So in those kind of situations where the matter is very, very trivial or difficult to remember, introduce stories. They'll be able to create a mind map and they'll be able to join the dots and they'll be able to remember. And the next is I put so many dots because creativity in this particular topic is endless. You can take it to any level that you want. Now, how we can use story as an assessment tool? So before I tell you that, let me do one activity with you so that you can know how you can use it as an assessment tool. I'll just stop the share and I will open the required source for this one, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. Just give me 1 minute. I'm sharing the screen now. Can you see the screen of Slido screen?
Yes.
All of you? Okay, so all of you kindly go to another tab of your computer and type slido.com. All of you go to slido.com. And then give this code that you can see on the screen. It is 352177. Go to slido.com and give the code 352177. Are you all able to reach that place?
Yes.
Okay. So there, the question that I'm going to ask you is, what concepts of AI was covered in this story? That is Bonda and Devi. Okay. So if you can write in 1 or 2 lines or 1 or 2 words, what all you understood, which AI concepts can you correlate in the story that we read in Bonda and Devi? So please type your answers so that I can see how many of you are actively participating. I'm just giving you an experience what you can do in the class. I'm not testing anything. Okay, teachers, please don't feel that I'm testing you all. It is just an activity which we are doing. Very good. I've got 2 answers: machine learning algorithm, robotics, object detection. Wonderful. Okay. See, I can make out only 6 teachers have participated. Okay, training machines areas. Wonderful answers. Programming concepts. Okay, good. NLP, yes. Supervised reinforcement learning. Wonderful answer. Whoever has written, very appropriate. Supervised and reinforcement learning. Voice assistant, machine learning. Good. Wonderful. Robotics, programming concept, super intelligence. Yes, super intelligence concept is also being told in that lesson. See, once you tell the story, if you do such an activity, children will themselves come up with so many ideas, and then you can start teaching. 15 teachers have actively participated. I'm very happy for that. Okay, general intelligence, NLP, machine learning, wonderful. Beautiful. Very good answers I'm getting. All of you are actively participating and you have thoroughly enjoyed the stories also. Emotional intelligence of robots. Yes, ma'am. Very good. Yes. Yes. Object detection. All these things I'm getting. Okay. Okay. I'm going to close that and open one more poll for you. This one. Just a sample I'm telling. I'm just showing it to you how to use this particular Slido platform to share your views about this webinar. You need not have to write anything about me, about the stories that you have understood. The first story, Totu or Jetsons or the Star Trek story, whatever you feel like, just type it. Okay, we are just taking excellent resources. Yes. About the story weaver that you learned. This code is again same. It is 352177. Yes, real life object as an example, very practical and informative. Yes.
Smita, is it only word that you can type?
Yes, ma'am, it is only words and there is a word limit also, 25, not word, characters, 25 characters, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah. Creative, yes, you're getting very good explanations from all the teachers. This is not to test you teachers, it is just a way of showing how you can do it in the class. After you tell a story, before you start teaching your concept, you can take the views and replies from your students in the Slido platform, and then you can go ahead with your topic. Yes, very interesting. Real life object. Okay, wonderful. So it's okay. Thank you, all of you. So let me go back to my presentation now. I'll just go back to this. I can analyze the poll later. So let me go back to this presentation. Okay, now story as an assessment tool. So what did we do now? We first read out the story. We correlated the story with the concept that we are going to teach. And now I used story as an assessment tool. Now, a story as an assessment tool can be used in two ways. I can gain some information for the children, or you tell your children to write another story based on the same topic. Suppose you have taught them about NLP. Tell them to write another story about NLP, just modify it. They can take Totu only and just modify it in whichever way they want. So teach the lesson through storytelling pedagogy for either introducing the topic or for teaching a subtopic. Have a continued discussion of the topic in correlation to the story when required. Hand out the story taught in the class and tell the children to recreate the same concept through a story of their version. One is you're getting information from the children through the Slido platform or Menti or any platform, or in your school platform also. Or else what you can do is how story pedagogy can be used as an assessment tool. Tell your children to write a small story, maybe about a small paragraph on the story that you have told them. Totu stories can be modified, even Bonda story or the Ramu's dream story, any story can be modified, and their version of a dream city or their version of NLP. And you will be amazed that children are going to come with wonderful names and wonderful story picturization, characterization, everything they are going to do. And before you tell them to start writing, hand out the rubrics to the students. Rubrics are very important. On what basis are you going to grade them? If they write these concepts, okay, they are going to get excellent. So hand out the rubrics to them, and then finally you can evaluate it. So that is how story pedagogy can be used as well as a teaching aid, as well as an assessment tool also. So at the end, I would like to tell that storytelling is the oldest form of education, and stories are gifts to share, and stories are memories. They are moral compasses and wonderful manuals which can make our lives wonderful and make our students' life also wonderful. So with this, I come to the end of my session, and I say express my gratitude to AI teacher community for giving me this opportunity. And now if you have any doubts, you can feel free to ask me, and I'll be happy to help you all.
Teachers, please feel free, because she's really worked on to these storytelling and how it can be incorporated into the sessions. So when you ask questions, it will also help Smita to think about it.
Yes.
And it will
yes.
also help Smita, okay, I am not very sure, so probably I would look up a little more to find out how this can be brought. If you think that you have an idea of how storytelling could be incorporated into AI or computer science that you take, please feel free to share, because I know, and see, we are going to wind the whole session up in another 5 or 10 minutes time. So we are far ahead of our schedule. Actually, we started at 3,
Yes.
and exactly in 1 hour, Smita gave us so much to, think about and so much to implement. I can see a lot of comments in the chat box, but would really appreciate if 1 or 2 people or whoever would like to express something, you could unmute and speak. I think that would be brilliant. Please do that.
Thank you, Smita ma'am. She's always ready. I had a doubt that certificates. She had helped me. Thank you, thank you. And we've learned new app actually. Slido was a new, something new. I never knew it. Thank you very much, ma'am. I'm very, I think so it's worth attending the section today. We've learned how to, that is normally we teach some concept, whatever we knew it. Now we have taught us how to use using stories to make it a little more better. I think so I can do a better job now. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. That is what normally when we give an introduction, it's just a normal thing that we say, okay, this was this, and that is the normal way we introduce the topic. But whenever you do it with a story, and you will not believe I'm doing it in my class, and every day my children are asking, ma'am, today one more story for us. They are hooked to stories now. That is how it is.
Okay, please fill the feedback form which is posted in the chat box. The feedback form will not be shared in the main group. Only people who are here and who can fill it up right now will be able to receive the certificate based on this session. I would like to profusely thank Swati ma'am, who helped me out, because I completely forgot about the feedback form and the certificate. Somehow that Certify-M is not working for me in my account. I need to check out why, but then she instantly came into our rescue, and all of you will have a certificate for this session, courtesy Swati ma'am. So thank you so much, Swati ma'am. Please fill in this feedback.
Hello, Smita.
Yes,
This is Meenu Kumar. A very excellent session. I had attended last time also, and I again attended this session today. And there were so many resources that you added on to your last story. I remember it was on AI ethics and buyer. So you added on to it, and it was so nice. I would love if you could, work a little more on where we have storytelling with data. That is one chapter in AI, where even I am having difficulty on how to guide my students to write stories when they have a graph given, and how to analyze data from the graph and then write the story.
Okay, ma'am.
So if you could, work on that and probably give us pointers, I would love to hear regarding that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Surely I'll keep that in mind and I'll start working on that.
Yeah, it's a very valid request that's coming from Meenu ma'am, because I remember Meenu ma'am was also there in that session where we attended Smita's, and Smita has shared much more than what she shared in that session. That was a 40 minutes or 45 minutes.
40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes actually.
Some technical problems that day.
That day there was some technical problem. I lost about 15 minutes in the beginning. So I had to hurry up, and I had to there was some problem, so I had to finish off quite quickly. So I could not tell the other stories. I have curated so many stories, but there was no time for me to present it actually.
Yes, Deepa ma'am, definitely storytelling can be incorporated in computer science classes. Smita ma'am has mentioned introduction to computers, computer networks, databases, number conversions. There are many more chapters that we can explore on our own and see how we can incorporate. Always remember that ground rule: do not bring deliberately stories into the lessons. Only if they fit into a lesson, you can use storytelling there.
Yes.
Okay, and that storytelling using data is actually the norm and the way forward in the real world, because as we go ahead and as we work with companies and corporates, or even in schools for having an analysis of probably our academics or results or performance of children or anything. It is data that speaks. So
Yes.
how we can use that data and make it into a story format is something which we all need to, explore, because that's one of the chapters for grade 11, and it's grade
there in
12,
class
grade
12 also.
right?
It's
Class
there.
12 also, yes,
It's
ma'am.
grade
Ah, yes.
12.
Third chapter in class 12, so they will be getting questions in the board exam.
Yes,
Yes.
so it is very important chapter. I think all of us, if we work together, I'm sure that since Smita has already started working on, this storytelling, she would be definitely able to help us. But meanwhile, if we can also try looking for how these stories can be incorporated using data. When we talk about storytelling using data, it wouldn't be the stories in the traditional sense.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so we will have to bring in like how a result could be projected based on this data. That is the
Correct.
story behind the data.
If I think Smita was also there in one of the AI trainings conducted by CBSE, and I think Smita, you were there in training 1. So they
Yes,
were
ma'am.
talking that ask the students to draw a graph also.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
not just the story, we'll have to teach the students to draw a small pie chart probably to better show the idea they are giving in the story.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I was there and I will start working on that. Good project you have given me now. Yes,
So-
Monica, ma'am, she has raised her hand.
Yes, ma'am. I'm really impressed the way you have searched for the content, the way you delivered. It's excellent. So, ma'am, I have a query here. You were
Yes,
talking
ma'am.
about Microsoft Photo.
Yes, photos.
First,
Huh.
ma'am, how to work in it? You were
I'm going to
will you be
send the
sharing
link,
it?
ma'am. Yes, I'm going to send the link. Just a minute. If I've got in my laptop in the desktop, I'll share it in the chat only, and you can use it. Just give me 1 minute, huh?
So, ma'am, in that case, the stories which you just showed here about a Toto,
Yeah.
and we have to create the characters, so the characters are being provided and the storyline can be done by
Those
us.
stories have been created by me, and I would like to actually, when I was thinking about it, my husband and my younger son, they gave me some ideas, and I built on that. All these are my own stories. I have not referred, I have not taken from anybody. These characters
Okay.
created myself.
I think she's talking about the illustrations as well, Smita.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Yeah,
illustrations.
illustrations, as you're telling, illustrations can be done by yourself. You can click the photo and you can keep it in Storyweaver and you can use it. Otherwise, if you don't have much time, there are illustrations which are already there, like the bird and the girl. So like if you type parrot, it is going to come. So you can use those illustrations.
Okay, in Storyweaver.
Yeah, in Storyweaver. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Excellent, ma'am. And excellent, Shivi, ma'am, bringing all of us at this platform where true knowledge sharing is happening.
Thank you, Monica, ma'am. Thank you so much. I think
No
I've
words
got
to
that this one letter. I mean that Word link is there with me. That Word file is there. Shibi ma'am, can I send it to you later so that you can?
Yeah. Please do send it to me. I'll forward it into the group. No problem.
Yes,
at all.
ma'am.
And I would just like to take the query from Shalini ma'am right now, because there are a lot of other senior teachers here also. She was just checking about the term-wise syllabus for AI in class 11. I think we should go in the order which is given in the handbook. Like we have 2 handbooks. 1 to 5 in one and 6 to 10 in another. I think for term 1, probably we will have to go from that unit 1 to unit 5. Yes, that employability skills, I'm not very sure how they want us to take it, whether they want to take us all in term 1 or in term 2. Meenu ma'am, any idea about that? Raksha ma'am, Meenu ma'am?
I checked out the 9th and 10th. What they've done is they've divided it in 2 parts. So first 3 chapters they have given in term 1, and the remaining 2 chapters, entrepreneur skills and green skills, they've given in term 2. So
exactly,
we'll follow the same trend in class 11th and 12th also. I agree with you regarding class 11th, because we have 10 chapters, 5 theory, 5 practical. So they'll do go unit wise, 1 to 5 in term 1 and probably 6 to 10th in term 2.
Right.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening.
I asked just in general because I know this is a home exam and we can manipulate it according to us, right? It's not a board exam, but I thought how everyone is going with this. So that's why I asked here.
Absolutely understand, Shalini ma'am. I think we should all be doing a uniform thing. And
Thank
though
you.
it is a home exam, I don't know if CBSE is planning to send questions for us. I don't know. But yes, we should be following what they do. They're doing it for grade 10 and 12. They are going in the order. If you look at the revised syllabus, if you look at the term 1 and term 2
Yes,
portion,
yes.
they have mentioned it like that. So we will all follow the same thing.
They had shared, the CBSE people had shared a question paper for class 11th last time. I'll check if I have it. I will share it on the group.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
I don't remember if I've still shared it or not. If I haven't, I will still share it again.
Yeah, yeah.
You already shared one in class 11th paper. Is it the one you are talking about?
I don't remember actually.
You have shared.
Okay.
And I'll share it again. Whatever I have, I'll share it again. That will not be a problem.
Yes. Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, for employability skills, do the students have to do some activities based on units?
Meenu ma'am, you want to take that question? Is it activity
Yeah.
based?
Actually, employability skills I've been teaching in another subject also. I'm teaching 802. So I already have passed a batch in 802. Regarding, if you see the question paper, it is a straightforward, question answer block. So you need not worry, just teach them the concepts. Activities are not necessary. What you can do is there are certain questions and answers given at the end of each chapter. So you can ask them to do that. That would be more than enough.
Okay, I would just like to add on to what Meenu ma'am said, though, because the term says employability skills, just teaching them, the concept would not be enough. You could give them small projects or assignments that they can work on based on the employability skills topic. Like for each skill, you give them one small project, maybe 10 marks project, and you have a rubrics how you're going to assess that particular assignment or project, and you tell them generally very basic about what that skill is all about, and let them explore on their own, because there has to be some kind of self-learning also from the student side. And anything that they are not very clear about, definitely you can pitch in, or there are other subject teachers who take skill subjects, or you can collaborate with somebody who can take that skill for your students. So I think since we are all online now, that's the best power that we all have. We could just call a guest speaker who would take communication skill, probably green skill, somebody who deals with nature and things like that. You give them the real experience and then ask them to make a project based on that. I think that would be appropriate. Let's not train children just on the basis of examination, because life is not just about pen and paper exams or the questions that they're going to face, but also about why it is relevant, why the CBSE or why this board has incorporated this employability skill into skill subject. I think we all as teachers need to give a little bit of thought onto that as well. So I think that is how we can do the skill parts of it. I can see a lot of messages saying that, yes, you've received the certificates.
Fancy ma'am has got a doubt that how to incorporate DBMS and all in storytelling. As I told ma'am, DBMS introduction part has got a lot of concepts, like how the concept of database management system came. Initially, it was record register maintenance, and then we had DBMS. Then came the concept of RDBMS, where we have the concept of tables and records and tuples and attributes. So many things are there. So that concept can be taught in the form of a story, and then the syntax part and the query part, SQL part, or the other questions part can be taught in the normal way. Only the introduction part can come in the storytelling part. Okay, ma'am?
Yeah, that is what I was confused whether the query statements also can be included. That's why I asked. Okay, only introduction part.
As I told you, too much of salt in a dish spoils it. Okay, so just keep that excitement in the children that okay, a story might come maybe at the end, but not all chapters should be fitted with stories. So then it is going to lose the essence and the greatness that this pedagogy has. That's
okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for the information.
Welcome.
So if there is no other feedback from the teachers and no other questions to ask, let me express my deepest heartfelt gratitude to Smita, because this is one area which we had not explored as computer science, IP, or AI teachers or IT teachers. Now that we know that storytelling is also or can also be brought into our subjects, and we can also be storytellers, and we can also have our children listen to those wonderful stories of the inventions of the concepts or the ideas behind artificial intelligence, machine learning, supervised, unsupervised. I saw that poll link, and it just set me thinking, Smita, that
Yes, ma'am.
we may think that okay, this was the sense in the story, but somebody else can find very new perspective, and
Yes.
okay, this was also taught and this was also there. So we could see a lot of creative inputs in that polling, where you mentioned about, okay, this concept can be related to the story, this concept can be related to the story. So I think that is how we work. So thank you so much, Smita, once again for coming.
Welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you, dear teachers, for joining us again for the
Thank you
13th
all
session.
teachers for your wonderful
Thank you,
support,
Shibi
for
ma'am.
all
Thank you, Smita.
comments that you have given me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Bye.
So
Thank you.
I think this so far, this is the last session in July. We have kept the last Sunday of July free. All the teachers are quite, going through a very difficult time of result tabulations and things like that. So among, you were doing that also, and then you managed this also. So kudos to you, and kudos to every teacher who could make it for 1 hour. So we are going early, so we have a little more time before it's Monday. So let's all enjoy the rest of the Sunday that we have with our family. So take care till we meet next time. Bye-bye.
Okay, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye,
you, bye.
everyone. Thank you, Shibi, for
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye-bye, ma'am. Thank you once again for a wonderful session.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Bye, Smita ma'am. Bye, Shivi
Bye,
ma'am.
bye,
Bye,
bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye.